everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today's lesson is an advanced level lesson. That means we'll be speaking using our normal English tone of voice and using some very, very difficult vocabulary and phrases. So this is really good practice for all of you out there.
That's right. We're going to change a little bit the dynamic of how it works. We're not going to look specifically at language takeaway or fluency builder. We're going to talk about the topic. We are going to pick out a couple of different words and phrases that are used in the dialogue, but we're mainly going to just have a conversation, and you can just listen and study a little bit of what we're saying.
So what is the topic today, Marco?
Well, today we're going to talk about the environment, specifically about our carbon footprint.
Okay, that is the title of today's lesson. I encourage all of you to listen to the context of that phrase, and we'll be back in a moment to talk about what it and some of these other phrases mean.
So what's your guys' take on all this global warming hysteria in the media?
It's pretty serious, man. There have been tons of scientific studies, and the scientific community says that the Earth is heating up. We need to make some drastic changes to our lifestyle if we want to preserve our planet.
I don't know. It sounds like a bunch of mumble jumble if you ask me. The Earth will save itself. It survived worse disasters in the past. I mean, honestly, we live in the boonies. There's no way anyone here is ever going to walk or bike to work, especially in the winter. And we have no bus system. My house is 40 years old, and it would take a lot of money to get it refitted to be green and energy efficient.
Well, I don't really know if I believe in global warming either, or whether or not it was our doing or a natural change the Earth is going through. But you have to admit that we're living pretty irresponsibly here in the West.
I guess.
I think the issue at hand is sustainability. We've only got this one Earth we can live on, and our resources are quickly disappearing because of our own carelessness and our inability to think of anyone but ourselves and anything but the present.
So, like I was saying, we need to change the way we live. We need to reduce our carbon footprint.
But it doesn't have to be that drastic. Hybrid vehicles and solar panels are too expensive to be feasible right now. And we don't have to be hippies living off the land and buying everything organic either. Though it helps.
I carpool to work every day with some buddies of mine. I have a rain barrel outside my house I use to water my plants and my lawn in the summer. And I make sure I always bring reusable bags with me when I get my groceries. And we just started using biodegradable plastic made from corn oil for takeout orders at my family's restaurant. Remember the 3 R's? Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Exactly. It's just small, simple changes. Like buying energy-saving light bulbs, starting a compost bin, recycling bottles and papers, using reusable water bottles, stop using disposable cups and cutlery.
Like the ones we're drinking out of?
Yeah.
All right, we're back. So, as you probably guessed, carbon footprint, it's pretty easy. You're talking about a footprint is the evidence you leave if you're walking on sand, for example.
Exactly.
And if we talk about carbon, we're talking about the element, right? Mm-hmm. Carbon.
Yep. So carbon is something that is in everything, basically. Mm-hmm. It's organic, but it can also, in the case of a carbon footprint, mean the amount of maybe waste or damage that we do to the earth or to the environment.
Right. So, for example, you're driving your car. We all know that the gas that is emitted from the exhaust pipe is CO2, right?
Yeah.
And that contains carbon. So that's a way of seeing that you're leaving a footprint of carbon. You are damaging the atmosphere a little bit by driving your car.
So in talking about a carbon footprint, we talk about having a low carbon footprint, which is good, or a very high carbon footprint, which is bad.
Mm-hmm. Right. So there were a lot of interesting things coming up in the dialogue. One of the first things was...
Well, the first thing that they're talking about in this dialogue is they're having kind of an argument about whether or not global warming and global climate change really exists.
Yeah, this is a very interesting part because some people say, well, global warming is happening, global warming is real. And other people say, well, it's not real. It's not really a problem. This is just a phase that the Earth will go through and like everything, it'll disappear.
Well, I agree with people who say that the Earth goes through phases because sometimes there are centuries that are hotter and sometimes there are centuries that are colder. But I think it's undeniable that there has been a large and immediate global climate change in the last maybe 20 years.
Yeah, we're definitely speeding up maybe that cycle, right?
Exactly. And I think what's great evidence of this and terrible evidence of this is the 3 earthquakes, massive earthquakes that have happened in the last couple of months. And I think that earthquakes like last year and like this year are really, really important reminders that we do, as humans, influence the way that the world responds to us.
I think I always see it as the earth kind of just shaking its back, kind of saying like, get off me. You know?
Stop it.
Stop it.
That itches.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's kind of the way I see earthquakes sometimes. But when they were talking about, well, is it real? Is it not? They use a really interesting phrase when it says, it sounds like a bunch of mumbo jumbo.
Mumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
So this is a way to say that it sounds like a bunch of garbage, or it sounds like a bunch of gibberish. It sounds like a bunch of people are talking about something that doesn't really exist. So mumbo jumbo is basically something that's not really real or true.
I think, don't you also, can you use it as somebody that's saying something that you don't really understand?
Right. So if maybe I'm talking to you about something that's very academic and very scholarly, you say, sounds like a bunch of mumbo jumbo to me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what the person said. The environmental problems are a bunch of mumbo jumbo. But it was really interesting because they were like, well, we have to save the earth. And then there was actually a phrase here that was really kind of hard for me to understand when the person said, I mean, honestly, we live in the boonies.
Boonies.
So what does it mean by living in the boonies?
This is a very common word to hear in spoken English, especially with young people. Boonies means we live far away from civilization. We live far away from cities. We live far away from everything. So maybe these people live in the countryside or in a small village. And they don't feel like they're affected by what people in the big cities do. Okay.
So if you say, oh, I live in the boonies, you're just saying, I live really far.
Really far away. So this is a very common American word, I think. You can also say boondocks, which is like that movie Boondock Saints. But boondocks and boonies means very far away. So I could say, Marco, I'm not going to drive out to your house for a party. You live in the boonies.
Do you have any other ways that you can say that you live really far away?
You live in Egypt.
You live in Egypt.
Which for us in America is obviously very, very far away.
Sometimes we say...
Yonks.
The Yonks, exactly.
Yonks, people in New Zealand say that.
I've also heard people say, oh, you live where the wind turns around.
Really?
Haven't you heard that one? Yeah.
No, I like that
one. It's like, you live so far. Oh, God, you live where the wind turns around.
The end of the earth.
Exactly.
Wow.
So, well, there are a lot of different ways of saying that. So they were talking about different aspects of the environment, like we heard the word green or energy efficient.
Okay, so basically what they're doing is they're talking about some of the things they've heard in the media maybe or on TV about what people are supposed to be doing. You know, these are very abstract. That means these are very kind of big terms. Go green or be more energy efficient.
Yeah, I've heard this. Like, for example, when people say, oh, you have to be more green or go green, that means more friendly towards the ecosystem, right?
That's right. So this is a very general suggestion, and we can talk about specifics in a minute, but this is a very general suggestion for thinking about the environment and doing things to help it. And so go green or be green is a way to be more environmentally friendly. We also have using energy efficient computers or light bulbs or TVs.
Right.
And the third thing that they talk about, and this is something that comes up a lot, is sustainability. Okay.
Yeah, that's a big word that a lot of people like to use.
It is.
In this type of topic, sustainability.
Right, so sustainability comes from the word to sustain. That means to hold out over time or to continue. So you think about something. Maybe sustainability is, I think, in many cases about doing or having habits, doing things that you can continue to do for a long time. For example, driving a big SUV to work every day is not keeping in mind sustainability because one day there will be no oil. So then what do we do?
Right.
So that's not a sustainable action. Sustainable actions mean that we have less impact, negative impact on the world.
Right. So basically what you're trying to do is to sustain, which means to hold, to withstand these habits, for example.
Right.
So when you talk about a sustainable ecosystem, it means that it has everything it needs and it can continue to work for a very, very long time.
Right. So you can also talk about sustainable development,
Mm-hmm.
which we talk about in aid and giving aid to other countries. So
Mm-hmm.
sustainable development is trying to help other countries or other people in ways that they can continue to do for a long time.
It's also very popular with tourism. They talk about sustainable tourism.
Right. That means thinking about the environment and having tourism that can last forever, not tourism that will destroy the environment because
Right.
it's very harmful.
It's a very interesting topic, and as you say, it's used in a wide range of cases: sustainable development, sustainable projects, sustainable tourism. There are a lot of different ways that people use this, but it's basically the same thing, right? In essence, it refers to that.
Yes, keeping something going over time. But I think the big question here is, if you want to go green, if you want to be environmentally friendly, what do you do? Because it's not about big ideas, it's about specifics. It's about changing your everyday actions, right?
Right.
And so these guys had a couple of ideas.
Yeah, they came up with something like, for example, hybrid vehicles, which is a big thing now. Basically, hybrid means two, right? It's a combination of two or more.
That's right. So, the Sphinx in Egypt, that's a hybrid.
Right, between a man and a lion.
Exactly.
Right. So a hybrid vehicle basically uses gasoline, but also electricity. So they're actually very efficient because
And they're quiet.
they're quiet. And usually where you use up most of your gasoline is in traffic. Because your car is on, you're accelerating, you're braking, you're accelerating, you're braking. So in this case, I think hybrid vehicles run on the electric engine until they hit, I think it's 30 miles per hour, yeah. And once you surpass that, then it switches to the gas engine, which obviously if you have a constant high speed, it's more efficient, the combustion of the gasoline.
Exactly. So a good example of a hybrid vehicle is the Toyota Prius.
Right. I think it was like the first one commercially available.
But now they have all kinds, and they're actually trying to make entirely electric cars. So lots of things to watch out for there. But they also talked about something for the house, right? So if you want to not just have a nice car that is environmentally friendly, but also to do things with your house, what can you put on your roof?
I think we've seen a lot of these. These are called solar panels.
Okay, solar has to do with the sun. So solar power, solar panel, that means energy that comes from the sun. So the sun. And a panel is like a pad or like some kind of device that can take the energy from the sun.
Yeah, it's really good. Basically, in some places you have anywhere between 8 to 12 hours of sunlight. So the whole day, these panels are absorbing energy. You can store them maybe in batteries and then just use them later. So basically, you don't really need to use electricity that comes from coal or from nuclear power plants because, you want to turn on a light. It doesn't really use up a lot of electricity.
And there's no waste.
And there's no waste. It's all clean.
So my question for you, does Ecuador have a lot of solar panels everywhere? Because you guys have so much sunlight down there.
We don't really have a lot of them. It's not a big commercial thing yet, but there are a lot of projects going around to help implement these things a lot better. For example, taking these technologies to the countryside where people don't have access to electricity by means of cables, right? So they're implementing that there, getting them to use it, but it's still expensive. That's the problem with solar panels is that, of course, it's an energy efficient way of going. It'll save you money in the long run, but
up front,
you got to spend a lot of money.
Well, and here's a good way to use sustaining. If someone in the countryside has solar panels in their house, it's a self-sustaining way to produce energy.
Exactly.
You don't have to depend on another place or a person.
Yeah, actually, this is a very popular thing in many developed countries. I remember when I was living in Chile, big buildings were being marketed as energy efficient and green by showing that they can be self-sustaining. So basically, they would have solar panels on the roof. They would collect sunlight all day, and then they had big batteries that would store this energy, and then you can use it. They were more efficient into keeping heat or keeping the cold. And also what we saw in the vocab that they also had was rain barrels. So basically collecting water from the rain, and then they can use this water obviously through a filtering system in order to be able to drink it or to wash your clothes and stuff. But basically, they would say that it could reduce your carbon footprint by more than 50%, and also the amount of money you would spend, because you wouldn't spend so much money on water, you wouldn't spend so much money on electricity or gas and things like this.
That's awesome. Well, one of the biggest concerns as far as environmentalism is water. Where water will come from in 50 years.
Yeah.
Because there is a limited amount of fresh water in the world.
Yes.
And if we can reuse rainwater and collect it, I think it's brilliant. So a barrel basically is like a big container. It's circular. It's like a circle, and it stands up on the ground or on a roof.
And it's brilliant because if you have a rain barrel that collects all this rain and you have solar panels, basically you don't need gas or electricity to take a warm shower. You just have the solar panels that can heat up the rain barrel water, and there you have a warm water. You have a warm
so
shower.
Nice. You have sun-kissed warmth, and you have like fresh rainwater. And
But the whole water issue is a very popular topic. I recommend that any of our listeners read. There's a very interesting article that talks about, don't worry about petroleum running out in 50 years. We're probably going to run out of our water before that.
Yeah.
And they project droughts and huge famine in places like India, like in the Middle East, in even in places of China.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, not to scare anyone, but
But yeah, it's interesting reading though. Yeah, it's really good.
very serious stuff. Well, the last thing that I think we should talk about before we listen to today's audio file again is the compost bin. Now, this is maybe something that's hard to understand for someone who's never seen one before.
Yeah.
But basically, compost is well, the verb is to compost, but it's also a noun. But a lot of people, they don't want to throw away their food and their, organic material, things like flowers and food and biodegradable things. They actually reuse them. So basically, they have a space in the backyard of the house where they throw away all the old food.
Yeah.
Nothing plastic, nothing non-biodegradable. And that over time turns into fertilizer or mulch for their gardens.
Yeah.
So basically you're putting it back into the earth.
Yeah. No, this is a very good option, and I remember seeing that even in Brazil, they have huge compost bins or compost places that they fill up with this garbage, and obviously things that decompose start to emit methane gas.
Yeah.
So they've found a way to harness this gas, transport it through tubes, and start using it. So actually having gas stoves with this methane gas.
That's brilliant. So you can get two uses,
Right.
fertilizer and methane gas.
Yeah,
Very
so
smart.
there are a lot of options there to go green, to do your part to help the earth.
Wow. So let's listen again to the dialogue that we had today. Hopefully we've cleared up some of the things that were confusing for you, and we'll be back in just a moment.
So what's your guys' take on all this global warming hysteria in the media?
It's pretty serious, man. There have been tons of scientific studies, and the scientific community says that the earth is heating up. We need to make some drastic changes to our lifestyle if we want to preserve our planet.
I don't know. It sounds like a bunch of mumble jumble if you ask me. The earth will save itself. It survived worse disasters in the past. I mean, honestly, we live in the boonies. There's no way anyone here is ever going to walk or bike to work, especially in the winter. And we have no bus system. My house is 40 years old, and it would take a lot of money to get it refitted to be green and energy efficient.
Well, I don't really know if I believe in global warming either, or whether or not it was our doing or a natural change the Earth is going through. But you have to admit that we're living pretty irresponsibly here in the West.
I guess.
I think the issue at hand is sustainability. We've only got this one Earth we can live on, and our resources are quickly disappearing because of our own carelessness and our inability to think of anyone but ourselves and anything but the present.
So, like I was saying, we need to change the way we live. We need to reduce our carbon footprint.
But it doesn't have to be that drastic. Hybrid vehicles and solar panels are too expensive to be feasible right now. And we don't have to be hippies living off the land and buying everything organic either, though it helps.
I carpool to work every day with some buddies of mine. I have a rain barrel outside my house I use to water my plants and my lawn in the summer. And I make sure I always bring reusable bags with me when I get my groceries. And we just started using biodegradable plastic made from corn oil for takeout orders at my family's restaurant. Remember the 3 R's? Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Exactly. It's just small, simple changes, like buying energy-saving light bulbs, starting a compost bin, recycling bottles and papers, using reusable water bottles, stop using disposable cups and cutlery.
Like the ones we're drinking out of?
Yeah.
All right, we're back. So it's a very interesting topic, very debatable. We have Earth Day coming up, I think. You have to turn off your lights for an hour.
That's right. Earth Hour, Earth Day. So remember, reduce, reuse, recycle, the 3 R's.
Yeah.
Think about the way that you use things and, try and reuse them if you can.
Yeah, it's a very good topic. We want to know what you think about it. And also, if you have any suggestions or any comments about future advanced lessons, why don't you tell us? Come to englishpod.com and we'll see everyone there.
Bye.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Unintelligible or incomprehensible language. Mumbo jumbo. Gain heat or get hot. Heat up. Maintain in safety from injury, peril, or harm. Preserve. Rural, country, or jungle. Boonies. Keep in existence and maintain. Sustainability. Sudden and severe. Drastic. Capable of being done with means at hand. Feasible. Add new parts. Refit. Prepare and equip for additional use. Refit. Available source of wealth. Resource. Share the car with others to work. Carpool.
Let's try that faster.
Sudden and severe. Drastic. Capable of being done with means at hand. Feasible. Maintain in safety from injury, peril, or harm. Preserve. Prepare and equip for additional use. Refit. Unintelligible or incomprehensible language. Mumbo jumbo. Share the car with others to work. Carpool. Rural, country, or jungle. Boonies. Keep in existence and maintain. Sustainability. Available source of wealth. Resource. Gain heat or get hot. Heat up. Add new parts. Refit.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Mumbo jumbo. That's a load of mumbo jumbo. There is no such thing as aliens. Mumbo jumbo. That's a bunch of mumbo jumbo. You guys like each other and get along well together, so you should at least try one date. Mumbo jumbo. Some people say that what the Bible teaches is a bunch of mumbo jumbo, but I think there's some truth to it. Preserve. By living responsibly, we can preserve our planet for generations to come. Preserve. If you don't start preserving your relationship with your sister now, I'm afraid it will only get worse. Preserve. This historical building has been preserved since the 19th century. Refit. My sister had her living room refitted with a new entertainment system. Refit. The mountain climbers arrived at the base camp, got refitted, and set off again the next morning. Refit. For my birthday, my wife surprised me by refitting my car with a leather interior. Sustainability. Sustainability consists of living one's life in a way that sustains the earth. Sustainability. Sustainability is starting to catch on, and many companies are finding greener ways to make their products. Sustainability. This store is all about sustainability. They sell clothes made from organic materials, purses made from recycled aluminum and plastic, as well as notebooks made with recycled paper. Resource. We need to start finding alternative energy sources because our resources of carbon and oil are limited. Resource. The way we are living is rapidly depleting many of our natural resources. Resource. Solar electrical device connected solar cells and wind turbines are becoming more and more common because they are renewable resources in order to produce electricity.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
I'm Amira.
Hey, Amira, how are you today?
I'm doing great. What about you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited about this lesson that you have for us today.
Yes, it's actually a very, very useful lesson. It's about someone asking his boss for an assistant.
Oh, okay, an assistant. What's an
Yes.
assistant?
Well, it's someone who helps you with your work around the office.
Okay, great. So let's listen to this dialogue, and when we come back, we'll take a look at all the interesting and useful vocabulary that you'll find.
Like I told you before, we just don't have the resources to hire you an assistant.
I understand that, but the fact is, we're understaffed.
The timing is just not right. The economy's bad, and it's too risky to take on new staff.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Here's an idea. What if we hire an intern? She would take some of the weight off my shoulders.
She?
Yeah, you know, a recent graduate. She could give me a hand with some of these projects, and we could keep our costs down.
That sounds reasonable. Let me see what I can do. Tony, I'd like to introduce you to your new assistant.
Okay, great. Let's meet her.
Hi, I'm Adam.
Oh, hi, I'm Tony.
And we're back. Tony. He's surprised, huh?
Yeah, he's, I don't know why, though, he's surprised. I think we should talk about that a little bit later.
Yes, for now, let's look at some interesting vocabulary and phrases here. Marco, I know you've chosen one for us.
Yeah, the first one that I want to take a look at is resources.
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 And that means, in this text, basically money.
Right.
So the office doesn't have enough money.
Okay. I've chosen another interesting word for you, and that's understaffed.
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 Now, understaffed means that they don't have enough people working there.
They don't have enough workers.
Right, they don't have enough employees.
Perfect. Okay. The next one is timing is just not right.
The timing is just not right.
The timing is just not right.
The timing is just not right.
Okay, let's listen to how we can use this entire phrase in a different situation so then we can understand what it means. Let's listen.
I was going to sell my house, but the timing is just not right. Honey, I think we should have a baby.
The timing is just not right.
Okay, great. I guess that makes it clear.
Yes, actually, it's very obvious that it means that it's just not a good time.
Right. Perfect.
Yeah. I have another interesting phrase for you, which is weight off my shoulders.
Weight off my shoulders.
Weight off my shoulders.
Weight off my shoulders.
So, to take weight off my shoulders is another way of saying to help me with my work or to take some of my work away from me.
If you have a lot of things to do and I come and help you, that means that I took some of the weight off your shoulders.
Yes.
Let's look at the next phrase that we have here, and it's give me a hand.
Give me a hand.
Give me a hand.
Give me a hand.
Okay, now this is not literal. It's not that I'm gonna give you somebody's hand, right? Let's listen to some examples and then we can come back and explain what it means.
Can you give me a hand with these boxes?
Neil, I'll need you to give me a hand with the sales reports.
Here, let me give you a hand with your suitcase.
All right. Give me a hand is another way of saying help or to help out.
Exactly, to help out.
Right.
Perfect.
Now, the last phrase we're going to look at here in this dialogue is keep our costs down.
Keep our costs down.
Keep our costs down.
Keep our costs down.
So to keep our costs down means to try and not spend so much money.
Exactly. Many companies, for example, now control how much printing you do,
Yes.
right? To
Yes.
keep the costs down of paper.
Yeah, so in other words, they do not want to have unnecessary spending.
Perfect. Okay, I think it's time for us to listen to this dialogue one more time, but I want everyone to listen and see why Tony is surprised at the end when he meets his intern, when he meets his assistant.
Like I told you before, we just don't have the resources to hire you an assistant.
I understand that, but the fact is, we're understaffed.
The timing is just not right. The economy's bad, and it's too risky to take on new staff.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Here's an idea. What if we hire an intern? She would take some of the weight off my shoulders.
She?
Yeah, you know, a recent graduate. She could give me a hand with some of these projects, and we could keep our costs down.
That sounds reasonable. Let me see what I can do. Tony, I'd like to introduce you to your new assistant.
Okay, great. Let's meet her.
Hi, I'm Adam.
Oh, hi, I'm Tony.
Well, you know, Marco, I think that Tony was really surprised because he was kind of hoping to have a female intern.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what he was expecting. Maybe this guy is a little bit sexist. He thought that an intern should be a girl, but instead he
got Adam.
Exactly, and it looks like Adam is really big and really tall because he's got that deep voice.
Right. An intern, Marco, do you want to elaborate on that?
working at a company with a very low salary or sometimes no salary at all. But what you're gaining is experience and you're learning a lot of things. Everyone who has been an intern or had an intern knows that sometimes they are not treated all that well. Sometimes they just serve coffee or they have to do paperwork.
Or like photocopying things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But some internships are really, really cool, and some are really good experiences for learning.
Yes, definitely. Actually, I know a friend of mine. She used to work as an intern in one of those really big companies, and she told me that she has gained so much experience doing that.
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't get paid, the experience that you get is really good. And that just opens doors for maybe getting another job. Or sometimes the interns get hired by the company to stay because they do such a good job.
Yeah, I think that's mostly the case, huh?
Yeah, that happened to me once. I started working as an intern, and after 3 months, I was hired by the company. So it does happen, believe me.
So you did a good job.
Yeah, of course. All right, folks, we're out of time today. I hope that you enjoyed our lesson.
Asking for assistance. When people need help, they ask for assistance. This can happen in many situations. You might ask for help when you are lost, when you cannot carry something heavy, or when you do not understand something. It is important to know how to ask for help politely and clearly. When you need assistance, you can start by saying, "Excuse me," or "Can you help me, please?" This shows that you are polite. People are usually happy to help when you ask nicely. For example, if you cannot find a place, you can say, "Excuse me, can you tell me where the bank is?" If you need help carrying a bag, you can say, "Can you help me carry this bag, please?" When someone helps you, it is important to say thank you or I appreciate it. This shows that you are grateful. If you need help but do not know how to ask, it can feel difficult. Learning simple phrases can make it easier. For example, "I need help with this," or "Can you help me, please?" are useful sentences. Remember, asking for assistance is normal, and people often help each other in daily life. When asking for assistance, it is important to know different ways to express your needs. Sometimes, you may need help in a public place, like a store, a train station, or a hospital. In these situations, using polite language is very important. People are more likely to help you if you ask in a kind and respectful way. You can start your request by using phrases like, "Excuse me," "I'm sorry to bother you," or "Could you help me, please?" These phrases are polite and make the person you are asking feel respected. For example, if you are in a store and cannot find an item, you can say, "Excuse me, could you help me find the bread?" If you are at a train station and are unsure which train to take, you could ask, "I'm sorry to bother you, but could you tell me which train goes to the city center?" These polite phrases make your request clear and respectful. In some situations, you may need to give more information when you ask for assistance. Being clear and specific helps the other person understand your problem. For example, if your phone is not working, you could say, "Excuse me, my phone is not working. Can you help me?" If you do not know how to use a machine, you can say, "Could you please show me how to use this machine?" Giving clear details about your problem makes it easier for people to help you. If you are not sure how to explain your problem, you can start by saying, "I have a problem," or "I need some help." These simple phrases show that you need assistance and encourage others to listen. When asking for help, it is also helpful to pay attention to the situation. If someone looks busy, it is better to wait or find someone else to ask. For example, if you are in a store and a worker is helping another customer, you can wait until they finish. When they are free, you can say, "Excuse me, can I ask for your help?" This shows that you are patient and respectful of their time. If you are in a hurry and need help quickly, you can say, "I'm sorry to bother you, but it's urgent. Can you help me, please?" This helps the other person understand that you need help right away. In addition to using polite language, your tone of voice and body language are also important. When asking for help, try to speak clearly and use a calm voice. If you speak too quietly, the person may not hear you. If you speak too quickly, they may not understand you. A clear and calm voice helps others understand what you need. Your body language also sends a message. If you smile and make eye contact, you show that you are friendly and polite. If you look angry or impatient, the other person may not want to help you. Being polite with both your words and actions makes it easier for others to respond positively to your request. Sometimes people may not be able to help you, and that is okay. If someone says, "I'm sorry, I can't help you," you can thank them anyway by saying thank you for your time. It is also a good idea to try asking someone else. For example, if you ask a stranger for directions and they do not know, you can politely ask another person. Being patient and polite increases your chances of getting the help you need. If you are in a place with many workers, like a store or a hospital, it is usually easy to find someone else who can assist you. When you receive help, always remember to show gratitude. Saying thank you or I really appreciate it shows that you value the other person's kindness. If someone gives you detailed help, you can say, "Thank you so much for your help," or "I really appreciate your assistance." If the help was quick but useful, you can simply say, "Thanks a lot." Being thankful encourages people to continue helping others. It also leaves a good impression and shows that you are polite and respectful. Asking for assistance is a useful skill in daily life. Whether you need help finding a location, understanding instructions, or solving a problem, knowing how to ask politely and clearly makes communication easier. It also helps you build better relationships with people around you. By using polite phrases, giving clear details, being patient, and showing gratitude, you can ask for assistance in a respectful and effective way. When asking for assistance, it is important to understand that different situations may require different ways of requesting help. In everyday life, you might need help in various places, such as a supermarket, a bus stop, a school, or even on the street. Knowing how to ask for assistance in different situations makes you feel more confident and helps you communicate effectively. It is also important to recognize that the way you ask for help may change depending on who you are speaking to. For example, when asking a stranger for help, you may want to be more formal and polite. When asking a friend or family member, you can be more casual and relaxed. Understanding these differences will help you navigate different social situations more easily. When you ask for help from someone you do not know, it is best to use formal and polite language. Starting with phrases like, "Excuse me, I'm sorry to bother you," or "Could you help me, please?" shows respect and makes the person more willing to assist you. For instance, if you are in a supermarket and cannot find a product, you could ask an employee, "Excuse me, could you please tell me where the milk is?" If you are lost in a new city, you might stop someone on the street and say, "I'm sorry to bother you, but could you help me find the train station?" These polite expressions make your request sound kind and respectful, which increases the chances that the other person will be happy to help. When you are asking for help from someone you know, you can use more casual and simple phrases. For example, if you are at home and need help moving a heavy box, you can say to a family member, "Hey, can you help me with this box?" If you are working on homework and have a question, you might ask a friend, "Can you explain this to me?" In these familiar situations, it is not always necessary to be very formal, but it is still important to be polite. Adding words like please and thanks makes your request friendlier and shows that you appreciate their help. For example, you could say, "Can you help me with this, please?" Or after receiving help, "Thanks a lot for your help." Sometimes, you may need to ask for help in situations where people are very busy, such as in a hospital, at a busy store, or in a crowded place. In these cases, It is especially important to be clear and direct while still being polite. If you are in a hospital and need help finding a doctor's office, you could say to a staff member, "Excuse me, I need to find Dr. Smith's office. Can you help me, please?" If you are at a busy restaurant and need assistance, you could say to a waiter, "I'm sorry to bother you, but could I get some water, please?" Being clear and polite helps the other person understand your needs quickly, even when they are busy. In some situations, you might need to ask for help in an emergency. When there is an emergency, it is important to speak clearly and quickly so that others understand the seriousness of the situation. For example, if someone is hurt, you can say, "Help. Someone is injured. Please call an ambulance." If you see a fire, you might say, "There's a fire. Please call the fire department." In emergencies, people understand that you must speak directly and urgently, so it is okay to be less formal. However, it is still helpful to speak clearly and loudly so that others understand and respond quickly. When you ask for assistance, it is also helpful to use gestures or body language to make your request clearer. For example, if you are asking for directions, you might point to a map or a street to show where you want to go. If you need help lifting something heavy, you could gesture toward the object to show what you need help with. Using gestures along with clear language can make your request easier to understand, especially if the other person does not speak your language well. In many cases, body language can make communication smoother and help the other person understand your needs more quickly. Another important part of asking for assistance is being patient and understanding. Sometimes, the person you ask may not be able to help you immediately. For example, if you ask for help in a store and the worker is busy, they might say, "I'll be with you in a moment." In these cases, it is important to wait politely until they are available. If someone cannot help you at all, you could try asking someone else. For instance, if you ask a stranger for directions and they do not know, you can thank them and ask another person. Being patient and polite makes it easier to get the help you need and leaves a good impression on others. It is also useful to know how to respond when someone offers you assistance without being asked. Sometimes, people notice when you need help and offer it before you ask. For example, if you are struggling to carry a heavy bag, someone might say, "Do you need help with that?" In this situation, you can respond politely by saying, "Yes, please." "Thank you." If you do not need help, you can say, "Thank you, but I'm okay." Being polite when accepting or refusing help shows that you appreciate the other person's kindness. Learning how to ask for assistance in different situations is a valuable skill. Whether you are asking for help from a stranger, a friend, or in an emergency, using polite and clear language makes your communication more effective. By practicing different ways to ask for help, you will feel more confident when you need assistance. Remember to be polite, use clear language, and show gratitude when someone helps you. These small actions make a big difference in everyday communication and help you build positive relationships with the people around you. When learning to ask for assistance, it is also important to understand how cultural differences can affect the way people give and receive help. In some cultures, people are very open to offering assistance, even without being asked. For example, if you look confused or lost, someone might approach you and say, "Do you need help?" In other cultures, people may wait until you ask for help directly. Understanding these cultural differences can help you feel more comfortable when asking for assistance in different countries or with people from different backgrounds. If you are unsure how to ask, starting with polite and clear phrases like "excuse me" or "could you help me, please," is always a good choice, no matter where you are. Another important skill when asking for assistance is knowing how to ask follow-up questions. Sometimes, when someone gives you help, their answer may not be completely clear to you. In these situations, it is useful to ask additional questions to get more information. For example, if you ask for directions and someone says, "Go straight and turn left," but you are still unsure, You could ask, how far should I go straight? Or is it the first left or the second left? Being able to ask follow-up questions helps you get the help you need more effectively. You can also use phrases like, could you explain that again, please? Or I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Could you repeat that? These phrases show that you are listening carefully and want to understand clearly. When asking for assistance, it is also helpful to recognize when to offer help in return. Communication is a two-way process, and just as you may need help sometimes, others may need your help as well. If someone helps you, there may be opportunities for you to assist them later. For example, if a coworker helps you understand a task, you could offer to help them with something else in the future by saying, "Thank you for your help. Let me know if you ever need anything." Offering help in return shows kindness and builds positive relationships with others. Even if you cannot directly repay someone, a sincere thank you so much for your help shows that you value their time and effort. It is also useful to know how to ask for assistance when you are using services such as public transportation, customer service, or healthcare. In these settings, you may need to ask for help with specific problems. For instance, at a train station, you could ask, "Could you help me find the right platform, please?" When speaking to customer service, you might say, "I have a problem with my order. Could you assist me?" In a doctor's office, you could ask, "Could you help me understand these instructions?" Using specific language helps people in these roles understand your problem quickly and find a solution. Additionally, being patient and respectful with service workers is especially important, as they often assist many people throughout the day. Sometimes, you may need to ask for assistance in a professional or formal setting, such as at work or school. In these environments, it is best to use polite, clear, and professional language. For example, if you do not understand a work assignment, you could ask your manager, "Could you clarify the instructions for this task, please?" If you are a student and need help with an assignment, you could say to your teacher, "I'm having difficulty with this question. Could you explain it to me, please?" Using formal language shows that you are serious and respectful. It is also helpful to show that you have already tried to solve the problem yourself before asking for help. For instance, you might say, "I have tried to solve this, but I'm still confused. Could you help me understand it better?" When asking for assistance, it is also important to be aware of how to respond if the person you ask cannot help you. Sometimes, the person may not know the answer or may be too busy to assist you. If this happens, it is polite to say, "Thank you anyway," or "I appreciate your time." You can then look for someone else who might be able to help. For example, if you ask a store employee where to find an item and they are unsure, you could say, "Thank you anyway. I'll try asking someone else." Being understanding and kind, even when someone cannot help, leaves a positive impression and makes it easier to ask for help again in the future. In some cases, you may need to ask for assistance using technology. For example, if you're using a website and have trouble, you might need to contact customer support. Many websites offer live chat, email, or phone support where you can ask for help. In these situations, it is important to describe your problem clearly and politely. You could say, "Hello, I'm having trouble logging into my account. Could you assist me, please?" If you are using a self-service kiosk at a store or a ticket machine and do not understand how it works, you could ask a nearby worker, "Excuse me, could you show me how to use this machine?" Being able to ask for assistance with technology is becoming more important as many services move online. Another useful skill is learning how to ask for assistance in a group setting. Sometimes, you may need help when you are in a meeting, a classroom, or a social gathering. In these situations, it is important to be respectful and wait for the right moment to ask. For example, in a classroom, you could raise your hand and say, "I have a question. Could you help me understand this part, please?" In a meeting, you might wait until there is a pause and then ask, "Could you clarify that point, please?" Being respectful of the group and asking your question clearly helps you get the help you need without interrupting others. Asking for assistance is an essential life skill that helps you navigate different situations with confidence. Whether you are asking for directions, seeking help with a problem, or requesting clarification, using polite and clear language makes communication easier. Remember to be patient, respectful, and grateful when others assist you. Practicing these skills in everyday situations will improve your ability to ask for help effectively. Over time, you will become more comfortable asking for assistance and offering help to others, making your interactions smoother and more positive.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Money.
Resources.
Not enough people to do the job.
Understaffed.
It's not a good time now.
The timing is just not right.
Remove pressure or stress.
Weight off my shoulders.
Help.
Give me a hand.
It's okay.
That sounds reasonable.
Hire.
Recruit.
Working too much.
Overworked.
Not enough people to do the job.
Short-staffed.
Reduce spending.
Cut costs.
Having too many employees.
Overstaffed. Let's try that faster.
Working too much.
Overworked.
Remove pressure or stress.
Weight off my shoulders.
Having too many employees.
Overstaffed.
Reduce spending.
Cut costs.
Hire.
Recruit.
Money.
Resources.
It's okay.
That sounds reasonable.
Not enough people to do the job.
Understaffed.
Not enough people to do the job.
Short-staffed.
Help.
Give me a hand.
It's not a good time now.
The timing is just not right. Now say the word and hear it in a sentence. Resources.
We would like to use more resources to increase our sales.
Resources.
We don't have enough resources to start a new project.
Resources.
Intel has a lot of resources for research and development.
Understaffed.
Hospitals in poor regions of Africa are understaffed.
Understaffed.
I did overtime last week because the company is understaffed.
Understaffed.
The factory is producing less than usual because it's understaffed.
The timing is just not right. The timing is just not right.
The timing is just not right for us to have a baby.
The timing is just not right.
I want to buy a car, but the timing is just not right.
Weight off my shoulders.
Could you help me plan the party? That would really take some of the weight off my shoulders.
Weight off my shoulders.
Finishing that project was a big weight off my shoulders.
Weight off my shoulders.
Winning the lottery took a great weight off my shoulders.
Give me a hand.
Can you give me a hand with these boxes?
Give me a hand.
Neil, I'll need you to give me a hand with the sales report.
Give me a hand.
Here, let me give you a hand with your suitcase. Paying $30 for new shoes sounds reasonable. Does that sound reasonable to you?